we're live. Feeling good tonight. What's going on here? Okay. We have a big This lecture is going to be so much fun. It's one of my favorite topics to talk about. There we go. So say hi. If you're just tuning in, feel free to say hello. See what's going on. See where you're from. It's Monica. Hey Monica. Sarah, how's it going? Mana. Yeah, so we're going to be live here for just a few moments to let people join and come on in, and then we'll start the highly anticipated lecture 1. All right, so yeah, just relaxing, getting all my notes ready, adding in all the new information, the new experiences that we've all been going through. And it's been it feels like it's been Aries energy for like 4 months. Does anybody else feel like that? It's just been so much Aries energy, especially maybe it's where I'm from over here. Very rushy and got to get things done. From Roanoke. All right, cool. Hey, Kim. You have a friend, Heather. Is from Roanoke. You're welcome, Pauline. Yeah, I'm really excited to get this information out, and I'll talk a little bit more about why this lecture is the most important and why I wanted to give this to everyone. Shamrika, how are you? Can everybody else hear me okay? Southern Ontario, very nice. Yes, this will be recorded and it'll be on my wall, so you'll be able to come check it out whenever you're free. I'll have it up there. Greetings from Texas. Nice. How are you? Okay, cool. Sunshine. Sounds okay? Cool. It could be louder. Okay, I see. I can turn up my volume a little bit. Does that help out? Or that you might have to turn up your volume as well. Good now? Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll start here in just a few minutes, so get yourself relaxed, get yourself cozy, get some tea, get some water, and we're going to have a great talk today. We will have a great talk. Yeah, for those of you who were in the group healing last night, we just had our group healing with an archangel last night, and it knocked out a bunch of us. So I had some pretty good sleep, very restorative. Only here in the left ear. Facebook has been changing their settings all the time, and you just never know what you're going to get, But this is going to be the only talk that's done on Facebook. All the rest are going to be done through Zoom, and I haven't had any problems with Zoom. Yeah, because everything's set up the way I do it every time. so check my other page. Yeah, so feel free to get yourself relaxed. This talk will be about an hour long. Okay, good to go. Yeah, there's a lot of I guess like evening doves over here. They're always hooing. Like, I mean, it's like clockwork. When our bedroom door is usually open, so we have the fresh air coming in, and you can hear all the birds. They get up, they wake us up, tell us it's time for a new day, and right around dusk, same time. So there's a lot of really cool birds out here in Florida, and slowly becoming a birder, seeing all the really cool storks and cranes and egrets and eagles. We just did a sound bath the other day, and there's this, I look up, and there's this massive egret. It was like, 3.5 feet tall, within like 10 feet of us, just staring at us, watching us play the gongs and sound bowls. So much energy. Yeah, that can happen sometimes. Pumps us up, depending on what we need the most. All right, so we're getting there. Start here in just 1 minute. We'll be good to go. This will be really fun. Okay. Babaji in the air. He is always in the air. Every time I even remotely think about my teacher, Babaji, my heart just immediately just goes and starts to glow. And I start to learn a little bit more about what it means to feel love and how the energy of love is connected to all. It just pops right in. How long does the lecture? Yeah, this lecture is going to be about an hour. Usually the lectures in the series average about 60, 70 minutes on average. I don't try to go too much longer, attention span wise, but it's a lot of information, but it's crunched down in an easy to understand. Just easy to understand. Very compact. All right, everyone. So here we go. We're going to get started here in 2 minutes. 1 more minute, 6:10. We're going to get started. There's a few people from the emails that we're going to join. So yeah, this is my favorite lecture. I remember creating this material and just feeling that this was the foundation. This was the beginning. This was the way to help everyone understand their position in reality and understanding their mind. The mind is a beautiful, complex thing, and it's not meant to be confusing, but it is if we don't have the guidance. So, all right, so we'll get started here. Lauren, nice to see you. Cindy. Okay. All right, so here it goes. And so I got my slides up. All right, everyone. So this is the emotional keys to Ascension. This is the very first lecture in the program that describes the way in which our mind evolves. And there are various topics and themes, and each lecture is going to build off of this first lecture. It's like the main piece of the puzzle. And this foundation, it oftentimes is what's missing. Little pieces of it are missing in the teachers that I see out here. Sometimes they hit on it, sometimes they don't. Sometimes it's a little bit, sometimes it's not enough. Because this foundational class provides a backbone in a way where we're uncovering the most important parts of this dimension. Because there are controls, there are constructs that don't change within our mind, within our energy, within the way we think, within the dimension and how we revolve around it. There are things that don't change. And when you know those constants and those controls, you can always have that to fall back on. That will always be the guiding light. It's not meant to be confusing. The thing is life can seem confusing. You go down this crazy path, you don't know what you're doing, you're uncertain about the future, but there's always one thought away from being in alignment with your highest path. One choice away. So, intro. So as we know, there's a lot of confusion in spirituality and in teaching, and who do we listen to, what teacher knows what, especially this new age confusion. I was about to make a class on the new ageisms. It's a word I created, new ageisms, that make things confusing more than they should be, or how culture is beginning to look at specific behaviors and call that's only spiritual. And if you're only doing this, that means you're spiritual. So I'm going to clear all of that up because there's so much uncertainty about what does it mean to be a spiritual person? What does it mean to be alive? So we're going to go over these fundamentals, and we are going to really create this puzzle and see what this story is all about. So a little bit about my story for all who are new. So my spiritual journey began probably when I was about 21 in the practice of lucid dreaming. I wanted to have a lucid dream. I don't even think I even remembered my dreams at the time, but I knew that lucid dreaming was something I really wanted to achieve. So I read this beautiful book called The Teachings of Don Juan. And during parts of the book, Don Juan would teach the author, Carlos Castaneda, how to dream and its importance and why it's necessary. And I was just immediately, my curiosity was piqued, and I had to see if I could do what Don Juan was teaching. And lo and behold, I was able to accomplish my very first lucid dream. It took me about 2 months. I had a lot of dreams, seeing my hands, not really breaking through, and then one day it happened. I broke through to the lucid realm, and that was that. I wanted more, I wanted to learn more, and each time you go into the lucid realm, you're learning a little bit more, and so forth and so forth. So 6 to 7 years later, I had my conclusion to my lucid dreaming, in which I had this beautiful experience of the memory of incarnating into this dimension. I remember what it felt like to be a pure soul, so light. Density isn't even a reality. Language isn't even a reality. It's just this pure awareness of soul. And I remember that. And I remember going into the dimension of the earth. So that's when I knew that I had to continue. So flash forward about a year and a half, and I have my actual spiritual awakening, have my out-of-body experience, floating up out of my body in a conscious meditation, about to go through the white tunnel, the proverbial near-death experience, that white tunnel that people talk about. I didn't go through it, but rising up out of the body was enough to change me, to catalyze me, to give me the spark necessary to continue down this train of choice. And I said to myself, this is what I want to do. There's something really rare and unique about what I just did. I don't think a lot of people do that. I need to figure out more. That was the start. That was the inception. And that was also the securing. That was my soul coming in and securing my lower mind, myself right now, securing me to the path of ascension, of evolution. And I got to experience this path almost backwards. I got the last piece of the story as my beginning, how you exit the body, how you consciously leave the body through meditation. It's talked about in all the yogis of the East, in India, to consciously leave your body, your Maha Samadhi. That was my beginning. That was my beginning of understanding that initiated process. And then as I go down my path, I learn more and more about what it means to evolve. And I put together this program to help describe this process. So this is the blueprint. It's in all of us. It's in all of us. And it will feel like remembering. When you hear certain parts of the talks or certain topics that make sense or connect dots, it's going to feel like remembering. Because our ascension, our highest potential, our higher power, the subconscious, we already have all the answers. We already have all the information. It's bringing it to the forefront of our minds. That's the human experience, the realization of what we are. And that gives us the beautiful experience of being in this dimension. So bringing out that blueprint and letting everyone know how to read that information inside. All right, so that was my rapid awakening. I got into healing soon after that, working with the archangels. And as we just had, for a few of us, we just had the group remote healing with Archangel Sandalphon, which was it was like a reunion for me. It was so powerful, and it gave me so many incredible memories. I have a replay on it on my wall if you want to hear about what we were talking about. Working with the archangels. So the angels are here to help us ascend, make connections, protect us, guard us. They are the ones who are helping us ascend. We have an enormous amount of spiritual help on the other side that it's almost unfathomable to realize how much help there is. Then I got into crystals and came across moldavite within a month or two of my awakening. And I knew immediately how powerful crystals were, because that stone, moldavite, the tektite, was so powerful. I felt changes immediately. And I soon created a crystal business and began just telling everyone I could about moldavite. And then flash forward 6 years, now it's huge. Everyone's finally getting into it. I honestly couldn't be more excited about it, because it means more people are awakening, more people are coming in to the necessary catalyst, the spiritual catalyst that is needed for your soul to change, to hook into, to give you that spark that says, I want to learn more about what I am, to reach that potential. All of our souls are looking for that catalyst, either through learning, through healing work, through group healings, through working with crystals, but there's only a few ways you can get that catalyst. So moldavite is a very powerful catalyst, and soon taught me the language of crystals. It's an elemental force, and very important, and can drastically improve the way in which you evolve by giving you so much needed information, charge, amplification, super powerful. But it is a language, and not everyone knows that language. Why does it work for some and not others? Well, every person has a need for their energy, and we get that need from the amplification of certain crystals. So, but that is a whole crystal workshop which we're doing. I believe that is the actual next lecture. Week 2 is the foundations of crystals, because once you have your awakening, you want to continue awakening, continue transforming, and crystals are a beautiful help. So I always give a huge shout out for a lot. I give so much credit to the Law of One, the raw material, which is a channeled series of books that was crucial in my development and had a really drastic impact on the way in which I was seeing energy, helped me connect some dots, and I recommend it to all. So a lot of my work is based off of reading those books, experiencing the Law of One, and then once I read them, and understood the concepts. And then I was able to push further, to connect more dots. Because in the books, they just tell you what to do. They don't say what happens afterwards. And I've seen what happens afterwards, after you begin connecting the dots. And I'm here to share about the rare spaces that my consciousness has been to bring back that wisdom, that esoteric knowledge. Because it's in the subtleties. Our evolution is in these very, very subtle connections. So I just give a big shout out to the Law of One. And as we go through the program in the lecture series, we'll go over meditation practices and how I learned to do what I can do. So now we're getting into the emotional keys, and the first thing we realize is that all is conscious. The universe is conscious. All is one. And science is finally starting to catch up to this fact. Everything is consciousness. It's only one consciousness. But then when you get to the earth and you're in your physical vessel, now you're experiencing individualized forms of consciousness. And within the earth plane, we have 3 major densities of consciousness. This is important to know because we have a layered consciousness of understanding our own selves. So it's only natural to see that reflect in our reality. So the first density of consciousness are the elements. Air, fire, earth, wind, water, ether, planets, minerals, crystals. Those are forms of consciousness that are on this dimension. Okay, so we can learn from that form of consciousness. But if you're in your initial spiritual awakening, or you've been in culture, in Western culture for long periods of time, disconnected from nature, learning from the wind may be a little bit difficult. That may be a little bit hard. Same thing, learning how to gaze into a fire, that may be a little bit difficult on how to extract the meaning of life. Same with the water. Water may be a little easier. Looking at the water flow by effortlessly, nothing impedes it. It goes around, continues to flow. Maybe a little easier to pick out some key wisdom points, but still, it takes some deep thought. But however, that is a form of consciousness that you have to learn from. Mother Nature is continuously speaking to you through the voices of the elements. And when we had a sound bath recently, and you can hear the sound and the wind communicate with each other. It's beautiful. So, second density consciousness, animals, plants, fungus. Animals, plants, and fungus. So now the soul can go into a second density form of consciousness and have a little bit more freedom to express itself. But still, the key to plants, animals, and fungus is this, is that they, just like the first density of the elements, they're in a form of harmony. Their consciousness is harmonic. It's perfect. The plants and the trees, they grow to the vibration of nature perfectly. You will never see a cat have to learn how to be a cat. There's no journey of that cat becoming. It's already perfected. Now, it obviously has a spectrum of experience, but it's from a harmonic state of consciousness. Now, this is important to know for this reason, because now you get to the human consciousness. You get to us. And we are far from harmony in our consciousness. We are striving to be in the next level of harmonic consciousness. So, we are not in harmony. We are self-realizing. We are understanding the harmonic potential that we have through our experiences, through our choices we make. We put together the journey and the path of becoming one's self. It may take a lifetime. It may take 3 years. It may take 12 years. But when you begin practicing your own development, your betterment of being a human, being a person, you want to be a better version of yourself. When you continue that path, it will lead to harmony. And that next level of harmony is the next harmonic level of consciousness. That's what they call the Christ consciousness. Okay? So, anytime that we learn from the consciousness below us, but I don't want to say that in a way of where they're lower than, it's just different. But you will get a harmonic lesson in return, meaning you can go off to nature and study nature, study animals, watch birds, watch insects, and watch how they call and respond and react. You will be able to derive lessons that are in perfect harmony. Nature will be your greatest teacher. Nature will be your greatest teacher, and that voice gets louder when you open yourself up to that. And as a side note, Mount Shasta in Northern California, the root chakra of the planet. Everyone on the spiritual path should make a pilgrimage out to Mount Shasta. That is the loudest I've ever heard Mother Nature's voice. And to be attuned to that voice. It's a very, very powerful place. Beautiful mountain town. So there is a geometry around our body. We are vibrating. We are a frequency. We are constantly making our own music of living. So we are hinting on the geometry of awareness, the vibration of cymatics, the science of cymatics, how things vibrate and make shape. Frequency equals form. Frequency equals form. And when you look at a frequency, so they do this experiment where they have a speaker with like a board on it, and they have sand on it, and they put a frequency blasting off to the board and hitting the sand, and the sand jumps into a shape. And they raise the frequency, and it just shapes, and the sand changes into another shape. And the higher the frequency, the more complex the form that sand structure turns into. Now, this is perfect mirroring of what happens to the human awareness when we begin changing our frequency through the use case of our thoughts. How do we use our thoughts? What thoughts are we having? And then you begin to understand the frequency and the vibration of particular thought forms, and how there is a very low, I think the lowest vibration I think you can have is like shame. I think it's even lower than fear. Shame is one of the lowest vibrations. Fear is one of the lowest vibrations. And it slowly comes up from shame, fear, guilt, aggression, anger, excitement. Then you start getting into like neutrality. You start raising up into curiosity, happiness, courage. You start progressing. But the thing about this is your frequency, whatever you're vibrating, that's the form of your reality. That's how you're going to see reality. Whatever emotion, the majority emotion you have inside, that's going to give you the shape of your reality. So that's what we want to learn from this science of vibration, to realize everything is vibrating. Your behaviors, your activities that you like to do, going out on the weekend, going to nature, going on a hike, condense that into a singular vibration. Going to a concert, a singular vibration. Going to a movie, going to a rock concert, a heavy metal concert. Doing a particular substance even. All of those, condense them into a singular vibration. What does that vibration equal? What does that vibration equal in experience? Because if you go down the spiritual path, you may begin to change your behaviors. And you want to say, oh, this doesn't resonate with me anymore. And that's okay, because it's a huge transformation that occurs when we begin vibrating differently. So there's a lot of videos on YouTube. Check them out. Cymatics, ATICS. And you'll see how sound and frequency equals form. And that's how you should begin to look at your reality. It's vibrating. Everything's vibrating. Now, we want to understand our awareness. So we know everything's vibrating, creating form. So now we go back inside of our own energy field and say, okay, now I want to learn about my own field. How is my own field vibrating? How's my own mind vibrating? So this is where you can really benefit from the basic 7 chakra system. See, it's an easy to understand template. Now, there's going to be more complex systems that you'll see in the future. Different teachers like to teach different things, but eventually, see, in my teaching, you only need the basics. You only need to understand the basics, and then eventually you let go of all of it. There is a space in your practice where you begin to let go of your thinking mind, and you begin to enter in just being, a clear mind, and you're not thinking anymore. You're not saying, oh, I need to go tune my 13th chakra right now. It's imbalanced, There's a space where you only need enough information, and then boom, you're flying. And once you're flying, you only need to tap back in when you need a little bit of help. And that's what the emotional keys do. They will guide you. You say, I'm just being, I'm in my zone, experiencing beautiful life in the present moment. But then you get confused and say, oh, I don't know what to do, what's going on? You drop back into your mind, and then boom, you say, oh, I remember this emotional key. This will always point me to the path. This will always give me direction. So this is where we begin, at the red root chakra energy. This part of our awareness is the lowest part. It's the foundation. And that is our security. The need to feel secure. The need to feel safe. This is the part of our awareness that will dominate if it gets activated. If you don't feel safe, if you're going through a light and you almost get in a car accident, boom, your adrenals spark and you are in your root chakra. You're in that primal fight or flight, self-preservation energy. That energy will dominate. So if you are in a war-torn area, if you are in a highly unsafe area, you will be in your root chakra the majority of your experience. So I always like to say, everyone listening, if you even have the ability to practice what I'm speaking about, or your own spiritual practice, you are in a decent position in life, because there are probably billions of people where that's not the case. So give a little gratitude out for the ability to have that freedom. So it all starts in your awareness starts in your security. What does it mean to be secure? Now, this is the base of your awareness. It's your foundation. The foundation to your higher consciousness is security. So, if this is the basis of our consciousness, we would want to have this energy balanced. The goal is to balance all of the energy points of our awareness. Balance all of the layers of our awareness. How secure am I? How much do I accept myself? How clear is my mind? How are my relationships? How's my expression? How's my intuition? How's my faith? So, security. What can I do to feel more comfortable being alive? That is the question that balances your root energy. You can always tune into that question as a meditation. Do I not feel comfortable being alive? What's the answer? Well, I don't feel comfortable because I have these looming bills, or I have this difficult boss, or I have this project that needs to be done, whatever it may be. But the point is to balance your security, to feel more safe, more comfortable in your body. You may need to address those situations as a priority, because once they are balanced, Then you can relax. Then you ease into the parasympathetic nervous system. Your nervous system can relax, and you gain control from the reactionary response to your outside influences. You take control back of your nervous system. You say, I get to choose when I wish to respond. So, the root chakra, the basis. What can I do to be secure? What makes me insecure? Find your insecurities. Your biggest insecurities are going to be where you get the most amount of your power returned to you. You won't get your power from opening up your third eye. You won't get your power from opening up your crown. They're only showing you your current potential, but the ability to harmonize your insecurities is where you get your power from. So, remember that, very important. It's also associated with the color red. Red, root chakra. Next, we move up to the next energy, the orange, the sacral chakra. This is the creative sexual energy of the body. So what do we do with this energy? Now we've balanced our root energy. We're secure, we're comfortable. Now we can relax and say, oh, now I feel good. I'm calm now. Now I want to do what makes me happy. Now you spark desire, creativity. What do you wish to create? You want to create an experience. That's where desire comes in. I wish to experience. I wish to possess. This is what this energy is all about. What do I want to create? What do I want to draw from? And this is also a part of the energy where it's an access point, infinite energy. The Creator has placed infinite energy within these points to draw from. Infinite creative energy. So what do we do to balance this orange sacral creative energy? What's this energy about? This energy is about joy and happiness. But we have some big imbalances that arise from the blockages or stagnant energy that can collect within your sacral. Sexual energy. Getting embarrassed, getting shameful, having an addiction, not accepting yourself. These are all blockages to your ability to accept yourself wholly and completely. So what can you do to accept yourself more? When you begin to accept yourself, accepting your sexuality, accepting your desires, releasing the shame or fear will only yield your own happiness. So that is the goal to the orange ray. Self-acceptance. Now it's a whole other talk and direction when you start having to unwind the shadow work that comes from emotional wounds, emotional imbalances. But to make it simple, the goal is self-acceptance. In releasing embarrassment or shame or guilt, those are all energies that we wish to release. So we're secure, we've self-accepted, we're feeling natural joy. It may take us a decade, it may take us years, maybe instantly to feel joy. Joy is an incredible emotion. Joy is beautiful. So now we're secure, we've self-accepted. Now our awareness moves up into the mental body, the next energy up. So we have the sacral, which is just below the navel. Now we're going just above the navel to the solar plexus energy, the yellow ray. This is also the yellow ray dimension, the third dimension, third chakra point. Coincidence? I think not. So now we're in the yellow ray. This is the mental body. This energy, this access point is connected to your mind. In our thinking body, everything we put into our minds goes into this energy and filters around all of the shows that we watch, all the information that we intake, that we view, It goes into your mental body. Programming. What are we programming ourselves with? What is culture programming us to think, to feel, how to act? What's culture telling us? This pumps into your mental body. This is what culture is. Now, the goal of the mental body for the spiritual path is very simple. It's extremely simple. There's a million complex ways to understand the human mind. When you go into psychology, why do I think this? Why do I think that? There's countless encyclopedias on psychology. But for the spiritual path, we can make it extremely simple because we are after mental clarity. The goal is clarity. To have a clear mind. That is the goal. To have a clear mind, because the clarity brings you to the present moment. Clarity brings you to the point in which you're able to transcend the thinking mind into the feeling body. It's a very important part of spiritual growth because this is where the majority of the population does not go beyond. Remember, cymatics, everyone's vibrating. Well, there is a very specific vibration of mental thought. Think of it as a ceiling. You're vibrating. Your mental body is vibrating around you. And if you can't break free from your mental body, you will be trapped to that ceiling. Clarity is the gatekeeper to higher consciousness. Clarity is the gatekeeper to higher consciousness. Clarity is that window, that door that opens up to allow possibility for catalyst, to allow possibility for the experience of the next energies up. When you start to get into the heart, you start to get into the spiritual centers. But clarity is a tough one. I remember sitting down and trying to just have a clear mind just for 5 seconds, and you'll have these thoughts come in. They'll be intrusive. They'll just happen. You'll forget. You'll fall asleep, forget what you're doing. But there is a way to achieve clarity, because even those thoughts that jump in that you can't get out of your mind, they're trying to tell you something. It might not seem like it, but I will teach you what those triggers mean and how to unwind those thought forms, because they are actually helping you. If they keep coming up, they are helping you. They're becoming priority. There is a structure. There is a process to the way in which your higher power unwinds your third dimensional mind. It's not random. It may seem random, but it's not. There's information within those intrusive or repetitive thoughts. There is a way to unwind them. But the goal is clarity. So we have the first layers of our mind understood. We have foundation of security. We have self-acceptance. We're happy. We're able to feel joy. We have mental clarity, and we realize that this is the gatekeeper. So this is where the majority of your work is going to be done. The majority of your shadow work, the majority of the spiritual work is harmonizing your mind. The mind is connected. We're going up the ladder, but it's not really like that. It's more like the red vibration vibrates in this really cool shape, and then it's superimposed on this other cool shape of the orange self-acceptance, and that's superimposed on this mental body. But that mental body vibration is deeply entwined into all of the vibrations. So it's connected in just side by side, like this weird shape in which it shares a side to everything. Because the mind is, you will have to control the mind no matter what stage you're at in your spiritual growth. So, one of the next emotional keys to our progression, the emotional keys to ascension, this will help you because we're trying to let go of desire. Because a lot of desire won't yield happiness. We try to have desire to go buy materialism, to go buy things, but we get temporary happiness. It's insatiable. This is one of the noble truths of Buddhism. The root of all life is suffering, and the root of all suffering is desire. And to end all suffering, you must end desire. But in order to end desire, because we're supposed to have experiences, we're supposed to have physical experiences, we're supposed to have materialism, we're supposed to have things and get joy. We're not supposed to be here just to be boring and not do anything and go meditate 24/7, not do anything. We came here to have fun, to experience being in the physical. However, that fun will be short-lived. That is a fact. There will be a time where doing an activity will no longer cause you joy. So the emotional key of sincerity is how you unlock your desires. And is this desire a true desire, or is this desire an indulgence, an addiction? So that's the key, because when you really vibrate what it means to be sincere, what you're doing is you're telling the universe that you're at your baseline. I am uncertain. I don't know if I should make this choice or make that choice. You're being truthful with the universe. You're vibrating sincerity. And then you're able to refine your desires more accurately. Because you will do yourself injustice if you think, oh, only being spiritual means meditating, doing cacao ceremonies, and doing sound baths. And you're supposed to just negate every other thing, every other experience. Then you're going to be left with FOMO, fear of missing out. And you're saying there's a part of you that still wants to have those experiences, and that's fine. That is normal, and that's what you should go do. That's a part of being spiritual, and that's where you get into the New Ageisms that says this is only spiritual. All those other activities are not. That's a New Ageism. But the reality is that all is the spiritual journey. All desire for experience. But sincerity will help you find the vibration that says, do I really want to do this activity anymore? And you get simple yes or no. So sincerity is a very powerful emotional key. Find the vibration of sincerity. Okay, so keep it simple. We must keep it simple. We're doing great. Doing great on time. And I will check to see how we're all doing here. All right. All right, so onward, onward, onward. Hitting a groove, feeling some beautiful energy that's just channeling right through me. Getting this information out to everyone as best we can. So, dimensional understandings. So, we have our awareness harmonized to the first three. Security, self-acceptance, clarity. Now we're going to understand a little bit about the dimensional understandings. So, this is the law of one. It's the first law. All is one. All of the creation is one. The creation is conscious. It's one consciousness. Everyone, everything, every person, place, thing, animal, rock, plant, thought, experience is one. It's all connected. The universe is a conscious universe that is conspiring to create. Okay? The Creator has placed itself into everyone and everything through infinite potential and infinite energy. We have those 2 points inside of us. We have infinity, intelligent infinity connected to the third eye. That is the goal, to seek intelligent infinity. That is the Creator. The Creator has placed infinite energy inside of us as well through the Kundalini, through our creative tap. Both of those points are infinity, infinite energy, infinite potential. The Creator has even made itself dual forms of infinity, because you will not be able to escape duality in this dimension. Even the Creator has made itself dual. And I'm telling you, even when you get to the most profound experiences, duality, it continues. But there is a solving of the paradoxes that occurs because the rational breaks down. The formless takes over. So all is one. The creation is conscious. Now, the biggest law of the dimension is the law of free will, the law of confusion. So we have free will. And even our spirit guides in the creation, it doesn't infringe upon our own ability to make free, conscious choices. This is important because that law needs to be understood because you have to ask for help. It won't just come without you asking. Otherwise, it's not your experience anymore. It's a big time law. But there will be all types of cultural influences trying to take your free will. So it's been important to understand that this is a universal law of free will. Okay, so the next dimensional understanding is a very big one as well. This dimension is about one thing. It comes down to this. This is the dimension of choice. This is the dimension of choice. Your experience is made through choices. You do not need to understand everything to be a master of this dimension. This isn't the dimension of knowing. It's the dimension of choosing and the embodying of that experience through those emotional keys. Emotional embodiment. Being, not knowing, is the prerequisite to ascending, to evolution. So this is the choice. This is the dimension of choice. So we're here to make choices, and we're here to find truth through our experience. How did that choice make me feel? Is that my truth? Do I want to refine my choice? Truth pulls you towards your refined choice. Otherwise, if you can't find truth in your choices, you will continue to make the same choices until you find the lesson. There's a circular nature of existence. Karma. It's a merry-go-round of repetition. Stuck in the same patterns of choices, not being able to find the truth. Truth is a vibration. It's a relative vibration. Your truth is relative to someone else's truth. However, but you have truth inside of you. Truth pulls you to your divine purpose, your divine path. So the more you refine your choices, you will find your truth. It's very, very simple. Truth through experience. The throat chakra is the key. Okay, so, and we're going to go over this a little bit more as we continue on. So those are some very key dimensional understandings. All is one. This is the dimension of free will, and this is the dimension of choice. You're here to make choices. Use your mental body. Now, if this is the dimension of choices, do you think that there would be the ultimate choice? I think so. There is one ultimate choice that propels the momentum of your experience. There is the ultimate choice. It all comes down to this choice, this question. Are you in service of yourself or are you in service of others? This choice is one of the final subtle keys that propels your energetic field into an inertia that is strengthened by unity and connection and love. The choice of who am I in service to? Myself or am I in service to others? This choice also poses a lot of confusion, and I'll go over why. So, choosing to be in service is one of the final keys to the spin of our field that we're creating. Because love is the answer to the dimension. If we want to make it out of this dimension, if we want to make it to Christ consciousness, the goal is to harmonize into love. Love is the answer. Compassion is the answer. Unified consciousness is the answer. The transcendence of the lower mind to the feeling body. Letting go of separation of self. We separate ourselves from each other. The more we let go of the separation of self from others, the more you will unify. Now, there are all types of selfish behaviors, outlooks, feelings, thoughts that separate yourself from others. Because when you're only in service to yourself versus in service to others, you create a different energetic alignment. There are two alignments. This is another thing that spiritual speakers do not talk on. They don't even go into these deep details about how there is a duality to the way in which your energetic field evolves. Now they hint on it. They say, oh, there's the dark side. There's, the forces of control. They don't realize that that's actually a way you can ascend. So, see, there's little half-truths and little pieces missing from that alignment. But it's important to know that your mind can evolve two ways. Because we begin to understand and refine our choices that may be self-serving. You say, I want to alleviate this self-serving behavior. And I want to refine it into a more unified behavior. Then the self-mastery comes from what is self-care and what is self-service. And when you master what is care to your own self, you will fall more deeply in love with yourself. And when it comes time to open up and serve others, you open up freely and unconditionally. That is a master level course right there in itself, is understanding the difference between self-care and self-service. So love is the answer to the dimension. If we continue the ascension of our mind to understand the layers, we have security, self-acceptance, clarity. Then you get into love. Love is the goal of the heart. Love, compassion, unity, empathy, understanding. Those are all emotions of the vibration of love. That's the goal. The goal is love. But harmony must coexist with love. Harmony and love are hand in hand. So the goal is to harmonize the lower energies below, the lower vibrating energies. We harmonize the lower energies until love becomes the perception and the expression. Boom, we just solved the paradox and the duality of love. We harmonize the lower energies, our shadows, behaviors, unwanted, security. We harmonize until love becomes the perception and the expression. Harmonizing duality. Okay, it's a very key thing. We must have harmony in our relationships. So a lot of shadow work goes into addressing our ancestral roots. Bringing harmony to the past of the ancestral lineage. And our relationships that we've had with others. Because when you meditate and you've had that one time 7 years ago in which you blew up and yelled at this person, it does come back to you. through meditation, because it will leave an imprint in your field. And we're learning to map, uncover, and self-realize our field, because in our energetic field, that disharmony is a little bit different flow of energy. And the body wants it to flow normally. So you must go in and to acknowledge the shadow, to acknowledge the discrepancy, and to bring harmony back. How do you do that? That's the shadow work. In short, you bring a harmonic frequency. You become a speaker of harmony. You vibrate a particular form of harmony into that direct experience until that experience no longer causes you pain. But that is in the shadow work class specifically. And so we'll save that. We'll go deeper into that once again in that class. So, another key to the heart, another key to living in the present moment, to evolving into love. There's a difference between the reactionary consciousness versus non-reactionary consciousness. It's a big one. If we're continually reacting to everything and lacking a stability, you are at the whim of your surroundings. There's a direct loss of power if you constantly react to everything and bleeding out your emotions every time there is a potential conflict, disagreement, uncertainty, or change in your immediate reality. Because this is how we retain our power. Because we're building a field, an inertia of strength, courage, of love. You build this power, but that takes time. It's literally like you're building a building. You got to have these stilts holding yourself up. So, no, I'm pretty good right now, as long as the wind doesn't blow coming from the east. And boom, it happens. Parts of the building fall down. You got to build them back up. That reactionary consciousness, it's the biggest way we lose power. If we're constantly not in control of that release of energy. Each time we react, it brings us down. And many times especially if we're reacting in anger, fear, discomfort, one of the shadow emotions, it brings our vibration down. Now, I'm speaking from a very classical construct of meditation, of achieving higher heights. Now, of course, we have to behave. We have to set in motion a different world. We have to build a different world. And that's going to take adversity. It's going to take struggle and challenge. And there will be ups and downs to the whole entirety of the human experience. It's not a ladder upwards where, now I'm in joy and I should never ever come back down to fear. Boom, I had a Kundalini awakening. I experienced transcendental enlightenment for a short period of time. That means, I can't drop back down into indulgence or addictions or fears. It doesn't work like that. The human path is very complex, and there are all types of ups, downs, bottoms, sideways, all types of directions. So we like to think in a linear process because culturally we're all masculine. We have a masculine mind culturally. We have that rational train of thought, that mechanical engineering mind. There's a transcendence between the thinking mind, which is the scientific, mathematical, thinking in a linear process. That's the masculine mind. And we're striving to transcend into the feminine mind, into the formless, into the intuitive, the art, the feeling body. Because the feeling body, that formless feminine energy, is where you're going to experience the spiritual. That's where you're going to experience more of reality, more information of reality. So the distortion of the masculine mind, we all know people who are like this, who are overly rigid in their perceptions, in their understandings, overcritical, ultimately skeptical. You can tell if someone's immediately skeptical, their perception is already distorted towards a particular viewpoint. Skepticism in itself is a distortion of reality. A little bit of logic will allow you to see that. Now, the imbalance of the feminine way of perceiving is being too receptive, too open, believing everything that you hear. That's an imbalance. Why should we believe every single thing that we hear? Naivete. Now, the goal is the balance of the mental, of the masculine, feminine mind. And that's where you remain neutral in your perception. This is a very, very key practice, to never believe or disbelieve what you hear, to remain neutral. That's the goal. Short and simple. Remain neutral. Especially everything I'm telling you. You shouldn't believe anything that I'm telling you. You shouldn't believe any of these things. Because if you believe it, it takes away the experience of actually embodying it. You listen to it. You say, does this make sense? Let me go test it out. To become truly scientific. So there is a science to God. There is a science to our own evolution. So, reactionary versus non-reactionary. Consciousness, mastering love, getting out of those lower vibrations and harmonizing them. Bringing harmony to our relationships is how you balance the heart. You must balance how you relate to others and how you relate to yourself. There's also a duality to loving others versus loving yourself. Two completely separate practices. So most who are in the service industry, they will have a harder time loving themselves because they give so much out and they're so used to love going one way. But self-love is self-love is master level. Self-love is master level. It's almost easier to love others or to love the creation. Loving yourself is master level. If you want to be master level, you better learn to love yourself wholly and completely. So balancing the heart, balancing feminine, masculine ways of perceiving. Now we are getting somewhere. So as we are understanding how our mind is layered, we have security, self-acceptance, clarity, beginning to open up love, healing, harmonizing relationships. We are beginning to make the choice of service. I wish to be in service of others, ultimately to be kind to others, to be unified, to be loving, to be compassionate, to be understanding, to have empathy. These are all harmonic frequencies of the mind. This is the harmonic consciousness. Okay? And now we have one of the other levels up, the first of the spiritual energies, the throat chakra, the blue throat chakra, our ability to express, self-expression. How could that possibly get distorted in this way of living? In a million different ways, apparently. So we have self-expression. And that's important because your truth is found through expression. Your throat chakra has the ability to harmonize your entire energetic body. Your ability to express yourself can harmonize everything. The key to the dimension is the throat chakra. That's the key. Fifth dimensional energy is the key to mastering love. The ability to express your survival, to express your insecurities, to express your needs, self-preservation, your ability to express your feelings, your emotions clearly, to understand them clearly, the ability to express your thoughts accurately, the ability to express your love unconditionally. You see how the throat chakra is intrinsically connected to your success. So much power is lost in your throat. Anger, addiction, overly optimistic, overly skeptic. It's all an expression where it's a loss of power. Not being able to speak up when in a group, not being able to speak up and to break crowd mentality. This is how you tell it's a self-serving culture. You see a bunch of people, let's say here's an analogy, you're driving your car and, say you're in a neighborhood and you see a neighbor, say they're riding their bike and they fall down or they hit something. All the cars are just going to keep driving. No one's going to stop and try to help that individual out. This is a self-serving nature. It's a self-serving society. We're programmed just to keep on driving, keep on walking, keep on moving forward. That's not my business. I'm not helping. There are countries out there that actually have laws that say if you help someone else and give them wrong information, you can go to jail and get in trouble. That's how backwards some cultures can be. But that's how we're being programmed as soon as we're born into this dimension. It's a self-serving dimension. Our culture is. It's so difficult, the inertia, to break free from the self-service nature of buying your own house, buying your own food, protecting your own loved ones, getting your own insurance. Everything is self-service. Step right up, you get yours, you get yours. Now, I'm not saying about what's the proper way to live or the proper way to have a culture, but I'm telling you that there is a stronger programming to be self-serving, so it makes it a little bit more difficult to break free of that mold and help your neighbor. So the key of the throat chakra is gratitude. So what stops someone from being self-serving where, we ask spirit, we ask a person for help, for assistance, and they say, yes, I would love to help you move all your furniture into your new house. I'd love to help you do that. And you say, okay, thanks and your friend comes over and they help move all your stuff. And you ask them, you were so sincere when you asked for help. You say, please come help me. They say, oh, of course. Yeah, I'll help you. You're my friend. And then they help you move. It's all done. All your furniture's in there. And then you stop. And then you say, okay, thanks. You can go home now. And that person's like, okay, I guess so. And then that's it. And then next time they say, hey friend, can you help me move my car? I need a ride downtown. I say, I guess so. Yeah, I guess I'll help you out. And they come, they pick you up and they drive you there. And you ask them so nicely too. You're like, yes, please help me do this. And then you get out of the car and you just shut the door and leave. And that friend's like, wow, that was strange. How come they just did that? And eventually, the key to what I'm saying is what you probably get it now, is that how just because you're sincere in your desire to ask for help does not make you in service of others. The key is gratitude. The key is gratitude. Gratitude is how we share the experience of choice. We share the power when one reciprocates gratitude. This is how you keep your alignment in service to others while still asking for help through the various forms of help we can get through somebody in the physical realm or the spiritual realm helping us. You must reciprocate gratitude if you want to continue your positive service to others alignment. Gratitude is the key to balancing, to stay unified. You're sharing the experience. All you had to say, oh, thanks for helping me move. Thanks for dropping me off. And that person's like, yeah, that was great. Because gratitude is an energetic exchange. Energy exchange. The key is gratitude. It's finding truth. Finding your highest expression. Finding your divine purpose. Gratitude also changes the way we can perceive the past, the present, and the future. So the thing about when you vibrate, gratitude is one of the highest positive emotional embodiments, emotional keys that you can do. There's no more positive emotion than gratitude. Maybe joy, maybe not. Maybe joy is a little bit lower. Gratitude is like, it's a little bit wider lens of the view of the situation. Because gratitude is saying that you understand that you're in a very specific spot in creation, where there were many pieces of the creation that had to happen first for you to have your position in life. And when you have gratitude for your position in life, you're sharing that power with everyone else. So appreciation and gratitude is a really big one about knowing, and especially when you start the spiritual path, you start meditating and connecting to the creation, connecting to nature, you say, oh my gosh, this is a beautiful creation. You start seeing the complexities that are just ineffable, and you're only left with gratitude. So it's a very important key. It's the key to the entire dimension. And you can't be psychic attacked if you're in a state of gratitude. People talk about all these crazy psychic defenses. The best defense is to be grateful. However, in all fairness, it's a difficult emotion to be in. We have a lot of things going on in our lives. It gets stressful. It gets chaotic. It's all fun. It's all fun and games here. Okay, so the next on up, so we're at the throat chakra. We're almost done. We just got a little bit left. We're almost there. Next is the third eye. Now, the third eye is one of the two energies that can ascend our consciousness. There's two ways. There's only two energies. There are only two vibrations, access points that can give us more consciousness, more information to life. And that's through the heart. If you tap into the heart and learn love, you will experience more consciousness. You will experience more in life. It will give you a bigger, wider view of life. The other is the third eye. If you go into your third eye, open up the pineal gland, tap into the transcendental nature of unity, you will ascend your consciousness. You'll experience more of the creation. Now, the third eye usually opens when it's time to open. It doesn't really get blocked. It can, but it's usually blocked by your mental body. There's a direct connection between your mind, your lower mind, the solar plexus, and the higher mind, the intuitive mind. So if you want to clear your third eye, you should probably work on clearing your regular old lower ego mind. Achieving clear mental clarity. So the third eye opens up and you can experience visions. You can lucid dream, have out-of-body experiences. This is where deep healing energy comes from. When I do my private practices, my healing work, my third eye is so open that's how my group healings are so powerful, is because I'm able to stretch up to very, very high frequencies of the reality of unity and to bring it down and to pulse that energy into the collective. I become one with the entire group, and that energy disseminates evenly and equally to all. But it took a long time to do that. And I do have a reference on my Instagram. There's a picture I posted of when I was doing healing work, and I opened up my pineal gland and consciously released the DMT, and my eyes went boom and got so big, like I was on some type of plant medicine or hallucinogen. But I was 100% sober, conscious, and aware. And I took a picture in normal lighting. You can see my eyes were massive. And that's the type of power that you are being withheld from through the way that we live. This is a power of powers, is to be able to do these things. So you can check that out on my Instagram, Joseph Adams Healing. And there is a emotional key to the third eye that's really important. Now, Now, with worthiness, okay, let me see where I wanted to say this one quote here. So worthiness is an emotional key, because worthiness gives you access to the divine. Are you worthy? Are you worthy? Now, we have all types of insecurities, and that's where that worthiness is lost. There's a direct push and pull between worthiness, insecurity, or being insecure. So if you want to have access to infinite love, infinite potential, all the divine, profound experiences you can with your consciousness, you need to be worthy. Now, there's no prerequisite. That's the beauty of the creation. It's an emotional embodiment. It's an emotional key. There's no prerequisite to worthiness. You just become worthy. That's plain and simple. Vibrating worthiness is your access to the divine powers. Now, the crown chakra, faith, is the connection to those divine powers. So we get to that crown chakra. Connection to our higher power. The connection to the divine. It's a balancing point. The same way we need to be secure in our physical body, we need to be secure with our spiritual body. And faith is the emotion. It's a vibration. Faith is a vibration. You don't have to have faith. Faith isn't you don't have to have faith in any particular thing. You just have to become faith. Become faith. And there's a lot of wisdom in that feeling that will yield specific understandings to your reality and how you view yourself in that reality. Worthiness and faith, they balance each other. So there's also another thing that will happen as you continue to evolve your energetic body. There's a reconnection between your heart and your third eye. We had a fall of consciousness in which our emotions became too entwined into our thoughts. Our thoughts and emotions, there should be a barrier where just because you think something doesn't mean you have to feel it immediately. Or just because you see something doesn't mean you have to experience it immediately. You know, once you start thinking about bad things or negative things, all that emotion just immediately collects to it and it brings you down. There's a fall of your consciousness. So in order to bring that back up and separate your thoughts from your feelings, there's a lot of shadow work that comes into play. Because there will be a time where your heart is open, your third eye is open, and you can balance them as one eye glowing. That's a little bit down the path in the practice, which I go over later on in the program. But it needs to be known there is a reconnection that happens between the heart and the mind. There's a severed connection to the heart, and we are rebirthing that connection. So worthiness is a big one. A quick analogy, one of my masters on the other side, Babaji, who works with me, and he has bestowed upon me the most pure and strong feelings of love I've ever felt my entire life. And to feel purity and love in the degree that I was feeling it was so strong. It was incredible magnification. And what it does is it provides a mirroring effect. And in that presence of divine purity, it brought out every possible shadow, insecurity that I didn't even know it even existed immediately. When you're in the presence of a divine vibration such as Babaji. Most won't understand how deep I mean these words. Most won't. They won't get it because it was I'd been having profound Kundalini risings, Kundalini awakenings, spontaneous, experiences of transcendental meditations and consciousness and all types of profound experiences. But they all fail so short to this experience I'm describing, to feel purity on that level. But it was a perfect example of showing you exactly where you're at. But worthiness, because I immediately wanted to cower down in my field a little bit. Like, oh my gosh, I'm in the presence of greatness. And it's not something I was doing consciously. So let that be known. I wasn't consciously thinking to myself, oh, I'm not as good. That's not it. It's the power of their vibration does that. And as I was starting to lower my light, Babaji grabbed me with his awareness and spiked in worthiness. Said, no, be worthy with me. Be like me. Be one. Be worthy of the most divine, infinite love. So, worthiness is extremely important to your spiritual connection. It gives you access to the divine. Okay, so we are getting there. We're just about done here. Now, the crown, emotional key to faith, it is a connection point, just like you're connected to the earth through your feet. The crown connects you to the divine. And this is helping us when we begin to open up our crown. This is giving us the shape of our energetic field, which is the toroidal field. And when you open up these access points, this puts them into potentiation. This activates those shapes. Opening your crown, opening your ground, you're building a shape. And as you begin to understand and self-realize through meditation, you learn to bring your awareness into your body, into your field, and you start unwinding, bringing those shadows out, understanding the shape of your awareness. Because all of your past, all of your experiences, they are held and carried within your body. Time does not heal your wounds. Your conscious choice heals your wounds. Now, we are always one choice away from the inner path to harmony. You are one choice away, no matter what is happening within your life, no matter how chaotic, you are always one choice away. And to remember that we're always one choice away from that path of harmony. Now that choice can be one of those emotional keys. When you start to forget, you can find love, you can find gratitude, you can find sincerity. That puts you back on your path. That's the compass that gives you direction, are these emotional keys. And we must learn to vibrate them like a speaker, projecting a sound. Security, the ability to keep your body safe. Sincerity, to form your desires and your intentions. This tells the universe you're uncertain. I don't know if this is bad or good, right or wrong. Help me. I'm sincere. I'm going to make this choice. I want to embody it. Joy, one of the highest vibrations. To live in joy. I heard this one quote where, when you die, you are judged on this one thing. How much joy did you have while living, and how much joy did you give others? Embody and find joy through all experiences, not just the proverbial, this is spiritual, this is not. Love is what harmonizes the Christ consciousness. Find love. This is how you become a master of the dimension. Love will interact with all of your being, and it will shape your field into harmony. You must have harmony with your faith. You must have harmony with your relationships. And you must have harmony with your physical body. So love will harmonize your past, your present, and your future. And it can be done so with empathy and compassion. Gratitude. This is what balances our experience with others in the creation. Shows appreciation. This is how we share the power of a choice. Share the power of a good deed. Otherwise, your field will start to go self-serving over time. Truth is what aligns us with our divine purpose through inertia. When you actually find truth in anything, in your choices, in your experiences, it creates a pull to more truth. Otherwise, you will make choices that will keep you on the karmic path, the circular merry-go-round of repetition. Find your truth. Worthiness gains you access to your divine powers. Faith helps you connect. These are the emotional keys to ascension. This is the foundation to all of the other lectures. And each lecture is going to relate to everything that I'm talking about from this foundational class. So when we look at the schedule, it's a class on crystals, it's a class on lucid dreaming. They will all relate to all the information that we went over today. And it's much, much more. It's cohesive by nature. So all of this will create this beautiful portrait of the dimension that we find ourselves in. So there is still time to sign up. I'm officially closing the door before next Tuesday for the second week. So you have time to sign up. Let me know, and I'll be sending out messages to talk with everyone. So if you want to join, you can still join. And the group healing is included with this lecture series. So not only are you going to refine your mind and open up your understanding of the dimension, but you're also going to receive the so important spiritual catalyst that allows this information to be embodied. And I tell you, it will be related as you receive the group healings and you go through the course, like both at the same time. It's going to be so much more powerful. So if you're already in the group healing, come talk to me about signing up for the lecture series, because it's just going to make so much more sense. You learn how to work with the energy. You learn how to do different techniques with the energy. And it will be a comprehensive understanding to the spiritual path. So, and I'll be around. I'll be sending out messages to get the last individuals all registered and signed up. So this was the very, very first week of the lecture series, and it was such a beautiful time. I had a wonderful time talking about this. I have so much passion comes through, and I try. It's funny. I'm not sure if you can see this, but I try not to look at the camera, because if I ever stare at the camera, it just like pulls me in, and then I forget what I'm talking about. I just like go black. So I've learned. So if you ever notice like why I'm not staring into the camera, it's because it just pulls me into like a black hole, and I just like go black for a second. Like, what was I just talking about? And, every now and then I'll have to be like, backtrack in my mind, try to hold it together. Usually happens once per lecture, but I was pretty good this time, and didn't happen. I felt very inspired and empowered about bringing all of this information out. And I love talking about higher consciousness. There's one of my biggest inspirations for wanting to share with others is the joy of connecting to the Creator, the joy of the incredible, profound emotions that you can experience. And you just want everyone else to be like, oh my gosh, just do this, this, and this. And you get to experience that. And you just want others to be like, yes, I see it too. I feel it too. So that is one of my deep desires that really helps me want to help others. All right, everyone. So I'll go back and read these comments and see if there's any questions, because I had a bunch of slides up. And I'll go back and see and message people to see if others are interested. So this is my main form of work. This is what I've been doing, and this is what I do with my life. So this is like my main income. So I do charge, not a lot, but I do charge a little bit just to be fair, energy exchange. But this sets it up for me to be able to help others. So it's going to a good cause, because I put so much time into doing community offerings, doing free classes. I just did a free Moldavite workshop just the other week. I do with Megan and I do these free community group healings, and all of this that comes in from the lecture series and the group healings, it helps us do that, because we spend hours and hours behind the scenes to create a lot of these free material. But we want to, we want to do this, but at the same time, we do got to survive as well. So all of that is going to a great cause, and my absolute goals are just to build the catalyst to make it bigger and bigger and bigger. That ratio, to scale it up and to have the most ultimate group connection in which we all receive the highest vibrations. So that is the goal, and just keep watching and I will keep creating. So, all right, everyone, I'm going to go rest and recharge. So feel free to send me a message if you have a question about signing up. I'll put a link here. There's a link already posted, and I think I can pin this. Yeah, pin comment. I will pin that registration. And if you're trying to make the lecture series work, just let me know. We can make it work. And yeah, it's all about helping each other out. So everyone, thanks again. Have a nice day or evening.